So today's question is 2019 ordinary level intersection, and it's quite different to what we've been doing so far. Well, not quite different, but a bit different. The key difference is before this we were taking two objects and they went together. So if I take a drawing, let's see if I have one here from the previous question. So in this case, you had basically a rail that went into a cuboid that was sitting up. So basically it was a zoomed in view of this, so sort of like two posts that went together. But in this case, what I have is basically, instead of two things intersecting, I have it as if it intersected or went through it, but then it was removed. Okay, so apologies, the focus adjustment. So as if it went through it, but then it was removed. So we're not showing the object going into it, we're just showing the hole that it left. All right, so as if a router bit or a cutter, or it was molded with a, what do you call it, like a template or a female mold underneath it, and then it was formed around it. Okay, so like plastic molding for any that do engineering. So you'll see the difference clearly in a second. So again, because the way I set it up, I'm not going to draw this bit here on the left hand side to start off. We'll draw this, and in fairness, it's a relatively easier setup of a question. So we're going to come down 55. It's not particularly high, it's not particularly deep, but let's see if I get a darker pencil or black here to draw my XY line. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm only going to keep 5 mil away here. So I'm going to just draw a starting line here. I'm going to leave a gap of just 5 mil here, which again is quite close, but it's just considering what we're doing, and this width here is 80. Okay, if I find when I'm finished that was too close, I can always let you adjust that to a slightly bigger gap. So I'm just trying to see, we know the total length here is 130, so probably will be okay. Okay, I probably will have more space than I thought I might have. Oh, sorry, this set square is a little bit of a nuisance in that it hits off the visualizer. So I'll use the short rope. So we have our rough plan there, and let's see, do we know any of the distances? We can figure them out from this, but I'm actually going to draw the end view first because it'll make it a bit more obvious as to how I'm figuring them out from this then. Okay, so I'm happy enough with that. I'll bring this up. We have a height of 55. Okay, so let's start with that. Okay, we have a distance of 15 here. We have a distance of 30, so 15 and 30 is 45. And then from the opposite side, we have a distance of 30. And we have a distance of 35, so 35 and 30 is 60. That'll be the most accurate way to mark it. So I may as well bring them across both views, because they'll be needed. So I'm putting them on the elevation and on my plan view. Okay, that's good practice anyway, because at least if you forget about one, you'll have accidentally marked a line there that may be useful or maybe needed for marks. So what I need to do now is I need to complete this, and I'm just trying to see, is there something missing? Oh no, I was going to say is there a height missing, but it's not actually missing. What it is given here. So I was confused there for a second. So this height here is actually 30, and this height here is 50. So we'll measure up 30, put a little dot, and then measure up 50. And what I'm going to do is just draw them lightly across this, and then I'm going to actually heavy in this view, because there's no change to that view. Okay, so I'll take my black marker. I have basically, this is called crating, where I locate all the points. So that goes across like so. It's level across this line. It then joins up to this point. It's then level across here, and then it slopes down at the back. Happy with that. And then what I'm going to do is do my hidden detail. And again, it should start and stop at the end, so it should start here. By that I mean that wouldn't be correct, that would be a gap. There should be a little bit touching it. Okay, so that looks pretty good for that view, and I'll take maybe a peach color here to draw this, and maybe I'll use the same color to project over. So really I had loads more space. Most of the ones so far were quite tight, and this one wasn't, so I probably could have left a bigger gap there, 10 or even 15 between those. So I'm probably leaving this view a little bit close. But I'll use a different colour, and hopefully that will help to see where it goes. So what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to bring across these heights, because they're going to be needed. Okay, and then this here is the hole going through it, so you can see that. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need a centre line. So this width here is 80, so half of 80 is 40. So I'll draw that line up the middle. Okay, and then that center line is basically the center of this. So we know that it's 40 here wide, so it must be 20 to the left and 20 to the right, and they go up to the 30mm line. I'll heavy them in 1 second and make it a bit more obvious. And then we have 10 in the middle, so that must be 5 to the left and 5 to the right. Okay, so I'll take my black marker, and what I'm going to do is draw this bit here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. When I drew on that, whatever way, it's quite greasy whatever way it prints the print on things, so it didn't really stick to it. Okay, it may not show up too well. That's basically what I'd see. These edges are flat. So I now have my end view, and then I'll have these little edges here will be solid, and that just lines up with that. So I'm pretty sure that's the end view. I don't think I forgot anything there. So my step now, and I'll use a different color maybe to project this down. Hopefully the screen isn't too luminous. And it's a little bit, but it seems to run okay on the drawing. Okay, so bring this down, bring this down. If anyone is colorblind, I'm not aware of, and struggles with that, let me know. Sometimes people will struggle to see some greens, or to distinguish between particularly greens and reds. As long as they can see it, it doesn't really matter. But that should be fine. So they're basically these lines here that I have. So what I'm asked to do is determine what does it look like. So I'm going to heavy in what I'm given so far. So I know, so I'm looking at this, these two lines are heavy. Okay, I know that this is heavy as far as here. I know that this is heavy as far as here. This is heavy as far as here. Heavy as far as here. And then basically that comes across like so. And that seems to be all that I'm given so far. So I have the end view finished off. I have this view here. So now I need to think, well, if I'm looking down on top, what will I see? I'll see this bit here as solid. So that was basically that surface, which was that surface here. I'll see these bits here as two surfaces. So basically here, two rectangular surfaces, and here. So they'll basically come out like so. And then I'm not 100% sure at the back because I don't actually have a view, but I'm fairly happy that I can see that side. I can't really shade it in on this, but basically that side there, if I want to call it side 1, is 1, and that bit there is 2. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, 1 and 2, them two flat surfaces. So now you can see there's sort of this weird looking scoop here, and if we look back at this view, you will see that there's something that I haven't brought down. Basically, when I drew that, it located that point. And because of that, I need to make sure that I don't forget to bring these down. Okay, so you can see I've brought them down. So what's going to happen here? It's going to scoop in and then basically construct this. So you can see that slopes up, and that's why I have that point. You can so oh no, I thought they gave you a hint, but they didn't actually in the view. So that's that. And then we're going to have a similar shape here. So this bit here will be straight, this bit here will slope out, and then it will come down. Okay, so they didn't have a straight edge coming across here, so it'll all be the one piece. And then the last thing I need to check is there hidden detail? Okay, so again, if you look here, you can see this edge here would go through. There'd be an edge on the underside of that surface. So I'm trying to touch here. I'm not trying to go through the solid lines, but at the same time getting a little edge here. So what I mean by that is I wouldn't go through here or touch it off that line in any way. If I can avoid it. Now I don't think they're going to be too critical in an exam, but that's correct practice. And I think that's the question then done. I seem to have all the views done. This bit here is a little bit tricky in terms of, and it's sort of, you could index it in terms of trying to find it. So we'll just look at how we could do that. So we could go, well, this is point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if we bring this across, this would have been 1, this would have been 2, this would have been 3, 4 would have been there, 5 would have been there, and 6 would have been here. So that would have mean 1 was this one, 2 was this one, 3 was this one, 4 was this one, 5 was this one, and 6 was this one. So you could use indexing, and then you could label the alternative ones here. So in this case, you'd only need these ones. So you could call this, again, I suppose we just label it just so that we can see A. Maybe if I used a different color, just to make it a little bit more understandable for those people that are struggling to visualize it. Sorry, I'm just looking for dark color that's different. And we have a green here, but it's not as dark as I'd hope, and then the other one is a little bit thin. Oh, here we go. Okay, so A, B, C, and D. So if you bring them across, there's A, there's B and C, and there's D. If you bring them down, there's B, there's C, there's D, and there's A. So you can index it that way, but in most people's cases, they should at this stage be able to visualize a good amount of it in order to figure that out. Okay, so give it a go and see how you get on.